You watched a video today, maybe a clip on your phone, a show on Netflix, a reel before you even got out of bed, and every single one of them passed through the exact same piece of software, a piece of software that almost nobody outside of engineering has ever even heard of. Here's what actually happens. You record a moment, you hit upload, and somewhere a program takes your raw footage, repacks it into a tighter, smarter form, and beams a clean copy out to millions of screens. That program is the invisible engine of online video. Its name is FFmpeg. It is completely free, it is open source, and right now it is running quietly inside the apps on your phone. No logo, no ad, no sign-up screen, and you never once notice that it is even there. And it is shockingly direct to use. You point it at a video, you name what you want out, and you press enter. One line, and a file that would not play a second ago suddenly plays everywhere. Watch just how little it actually takes. And it is no one-trick tool either. That same little command can shrink a giant file, resize it to fit a phone, rip out only the audio, or grab a single frame as a thumbnail. One program and quite literally 100 different jobs, because behind that single line sits a whole assembly line. Your video gets taken apart, decoded into raw pictures, reshaped, squeezed back down, and packed into a brand new file. And all of that happens in a fraction of 1 second. This is the real reason your files just play. MP4, WebM, MKV, MOV, hundreds upon hundreds of formats, and FFmpeg speaks every one of them, translating any video on Earth into something any device can actually understand. And once you know it exists, you start spotting it everywhere. YouTube, Netflix, VLC, Chrome, OBS. The tools that move most of the world's video all quietly lean on the very same engine, hidden just out of sight. And here is the strange part. This backbone of the internet was not built by some giant corporation with a war chest. It was mostly written by one quiet programmer, working largely alone, starting all the way back in the year 2000. This is the most important software you have never heard of. So let us pop the hood, open it right up, and see exactly how the machine behind it actually works. The programmer is Fabrice Bellard, a famously private French engineer. Over the years, he has quietly built some of the most influential software on the planet, then handed it away for free, and stepped right back out of the spotlight. FFmpeg is by far his most far-reaching creation. Even the name is a quiet little joke. The FF stands for fast forward. Yes, the button on an old VCR remote. And MPEG is the Moving Picture Experts Group, the committee that defines our video standards. Fast forward for moving pictures. Now there is no window to open here, and no buttons to click. FFmpeg is a command line tool. You talk to it by typing one line into a terminal, and that very plainness is exactly what lets it run automatically, millions of times a day with nobody sitting there watching. And that line reads almost like a sentence, the word FFmpeg, then -I for the input file, then the name of the file you want it to create, input on the left, output on the right, with a few optional dials tucked in between. That honestly is the entire idea. It even ships with a partner tool called FFprobe. Point FFprobe at any file and it tells you everything inside, the codecs, the resolution, the frame rate, the bit rate, how many streams there are. It is the X-ray you run before you touch a single thing, but that friendly command is only a face. The real power lives in a stack of libraries underneath it. libavcodec, which knows the codecs, libavformat, which knows the file containers, and libavfilter for the effects. Almost every video app on Earth quietly borrows this exact code. So what really happens when you run that line? Every job FFmpeg does, every single one of them, follows the same 5-step pipeline. Demux, decode, filter, encode, and mux. Let us walk through it carefully, one stage at a time. Step 1. Demux. A video file is really just a box, a container holding several separate streams sitting side by side. The picture lives in one track, the sound in another, and maybe subtitles in a third. Demuxing simply opens that box and pulls those streams apart. Step 2. Decode. That video stream is heavily compressed. It is not real pictures yet, just a clever set of instructions for rebuilding them. The decoder follows those instructions and turns the data back into actual frames, the raw, uncompressed pixels that FFmpeg can finally work with directly. Step 3 is the fun one, filters. This is where you reshape the picture itself, scale it, crop it, rotate it, drop a watermark on top, change the frame rate. You chain these effects together into what is called a filter graph, and every single frame flows straight through it in order. Step 4. Encode. Raw frames are enormous, far too big to store or to send, so FFmpeg squeezes them back down using a codec like H264, H265, or the newer AV1. This is the magic step that takes a gigabyte and turns it into a few megabytes without your eye ever catching the difference. Step 5. Mux. The exact opposite of Demux. The freshly encoded video and audio get packed back together into one new container, perfectly lined up in time. Open the box, rebuild the contents, seal a fresh box. That, in 5 short words, is FFmpeg. And here's the thing that almost everyone mixes up. A container, like MP4 or MKV, is just the box. The codec, like H264 or AV1, is the language being spoken inside it. The same box can hold completely different languages, and understanding that one distinction is honestly half the battle. Alright, let us actually get our hands dirty. The most common job of all is simply changing formats. FFmpeg-I, your old file, then the new name. FFmpeg reads the file extensions, figures out the entire rest on its own, and hands you back something that plays anywhere. Want real control over the quality? You choose the codec with -C, and you set a quality dial called CRF. Lower numbers mean better quality and bigger files. Higher numbers mean smaller files. Around 23 is the quiet sweet spot that most of the internet has quietly settled on. Resizing is just one short filter. Scale equals 1280 by -1 tells FFmpeg to make the video 1280 pixels wide and then work out the height entirely on its own, so the picture never ever comes out stretched. Perfect for squeezing a big clip onto a small screen. Just need the sound? Add -VN, which means no video, and FFmpeg strips the picture away and keeps only the audio track. This single line is how a podcast clip, a ringtone, or your favorite song gets pulled cleanly out of a video in a matter of seconds. Need a thumbnail? Jump straight to a timestamp, say 5 seconds in, and frames:\V1 grabs exactly one frame and saves it as an image. Every video site you have ever used generates its little preview thumbnails almost precisely like this. Cutting is just as quick. -str for the start, -to for the end, and add -c copy, which tells FFmpeg to slice the file without re-encoding a thing. No quality lost, and it finishes almost instantly because it is just copying bytes straight across. And now, the big one. To stream video, you do not send one giant file. You chop it into tiny segments, and you offer several quality levels all at once. FFmpeg builds every single piece of that, and your player silently hops between the levels as your Wi-Fi rises and falls. Now zoom all the way back out. That streaming trick, those conversions, those thumbnails, they are happening billions of times every single day. Practically every major video platform on the planet runs this exact pipeline, and FFmpeg is very often the engine sitting right in the middle of it. When a service like Netflix prepares one show, it does not encode it just once. It encodes dozens of versions, different resolutions, different bit rates, each tuned for a different device, so the picture looks flawless on a phone on a moving train and on a giant TV on fast fiber, both at the very same moment. And it is not only the giants. When Discord compresses the clip you drop in chat, when WhatsApp shrinks a video to send, when your editor exports a timeline, odds are very good that the same library is doing the quiet work just out of view. And yet, for something this completely fundamental, almost nobody actually pays for it. The code that trillion-dollar companies quietly depend on is kept alive by a tiny handful of volunteers, mostly in their spare time, and very mostly for free. It is also very much alive and still evolving fast. In August of 2025, the team shipped FFmpeg 8.0, codenamed Huffman, one of the largest releases in the entire history of the project, stuffed with new codecs and some serious new speed. And the headline feature is genuinely wild. FFmpeg can now transcribe speech all on its own, using OpenAI's Whisper model built right into the tool. You feed it a video, and it writes the subtitles for you. No separate app, no upload, just one more filter slotted into the chain. It also pushed the heavy lifting straight onto your graphics card. Using Vulkan, FFmpeg can now decode, filter, and encode video entirely on the GPU, including a brand new AV1 encoder, making the whole pipeline dramatically faster than running it on the processor alone ever could. And it simply keeps coming. In March of 2026, version 8.1, codenamed Horror, pushed even more of the work onto modern graphics hardware. 25 years on, and FFmpeg is showing absolutely no signs at all of slowing down, which is what makes the next part really sting. In late 2025, Google's AI bug hunter began firing security reports at FFmpeg, including one buried deep in a codec for a video game from 1995 that basically nobody on Earth still uses. And the volunteers pushed back, hard. Their message to a company worth trillions was blunt: fund us or stop sending us AI-generated bug reports that we are then expected to fix for free. The backbone of the internet, they pointed out, is being held up by people that almost nobody pays. So let us put the whole thing back together. One simple command: 5 quiet stages, Demux, Decode, Filter, Encode, and Mux, and a stack of shared libraries that almost every app on Earth secretly leans on. That is the machine running quietly behind the world's video. So the next time a video plays, anywhere, on any screen, in any app, just remember there is a very good chance it slipped through FFmpeg on the way, and through the work of a few stubborn people who built the internet's backbone and asked for almost nothing in return. And if you want more of the systems that quietly run the world, taken apart exactly like this, then go ahead and subscribe, and I will see you in the very next